They thought the war was over. The galaxy watched as Earth cities burned one after another. Human colonies across space went dark. The great fleets of Earth, once feared across the stars, were destroyed. The Galactic Union declared victory. News channels across alien worlds played the same message. Humanity is finished. No more resistance, no more threats. The skies over Earth were quiet now. No ships moved. No messages were sent. Just silence. At first, the silence felt like peace, the kind of silence that comes after a storm. Alien leaders smiled. Generals toasted to their success. They believed they had crushed the most dangerous species in the galaxy. For years, humans had fought with everything they had, using strategies no one understood, weapons no one had seen before, and courage that shocked even the bravest alien soldiers. But in the end, Earth lost. That's what the galaxy believed. No human signal was heard. Not from Earth, not from the Moon, not even from Mars. All human outposts were gone. Satellites stopped transmitting. Human AI systems, once able to defend, whole star systems went offline. Nothing but dead space now. Some alien commanders grew suspicious. It felt too clean, too quiet. But their warnings were ignored. Scout ships were sent to confirm the victory. The first arrived near Earth's orbit. They saw the planet spinning below, blue, green, and quiet. Clouds moved like always. Oceans still waved. But something felt wrong. The cities were not destroyed. Buildings still stood. Towers were untouched. There was no fire, no smoke, no life. They scanned for power. No energy readings. No movement. The cities looked frozen in time, as if humans had just vanished. The scouts landed. Their boots touched Earth's soil. Still, no sign of resistance. No one fired at them. No traps, no guns, no voices. They moved through the streets of what used to be New York. Dust covered the cars. Billboards still showed old news. A cup of coffee sat on a table in a cafe, untouched, cold. But where were the people? Inside a command center, one of the alien officers found a message on a human screen. It had been left on purpose. The message said, "You think you've won, but you never knew what silence means to us." The officer laughed. "Just human drama," he said. But one of his soldiers felt something cold in his spine. It didn't feel like drama. It felt like a warning. The scouts sent their report back. To the fleet. Earth is empty. No humans alive. No weapons detected. Mission complete. They waited for a response. None came. Their ship, parked in Earth's orbit, was no longer there. Gone. No debris. No signal. Just gone. Panic began to rise. They tried to contact command. No answer. They tried to leave Earth's surface. Their transport wouldn't start. Systems dead. Batteries full, but nothing worked. They were stuck. One of the aliens looked at the sky and whispered, "This planet isn't dead. It's watching us." On the main alien warship orbiting Mars, alarms began to beep. Small movements were detected deep under Earth's oceans. Not explosions, not missiles. Something else. Slow. Hidden. Rising. They thought it might be ocean storms or volcanic activity. But as they zoomed in, they saw shapes. Metal shapes. Human shapes. Earth had not surrendered. Earth had gone silent. And now, the silence was breaking. But the galaxy didn't know that yet. They still laughed. They still celebrated. On alien news channels, victory songs played. They mocked the humans, called them cowards, weak, broken. But far away inside a hidden human bunker deep underground, someone opened their eyes. A commander. The last one. He stared at a glowing map of the galaxy. He saw the alien fleet celebrating too close. Too loud. Too proud. He pressed one button. All screens in the bunker lit up. And far above in the dark sky, Earth whispered back. Silently. The alien scout team never came back. No messages, no signals, just silence, again. At first, Command thought it was a technical problem, maybe a storm, maybe the humans left a virus in their systems. But then the second team disappeared too. No crash, no distress call, just vanished. Inside the galactic war room, the leaders began to argue. Some said to leave Earth alone. "The planet is cursed," one general said. Others laughed. "Cursed? It's just fear talking. Humans are gone. We won." But not everyone believed it. Commander Trivax of the Zor Empire studied the silence. He had fought humans before. He had seen them fake weakness. He had seen them play dead, then strike harder. And now, something didn't feel right. "They are not finished," Trivax said. "They are waiting." But the council ignored him. They sent a third scout ship. This one was larger, armed, protected, with a full squad of elite soldiers. It entered Earth's orbit slowly. Nothing attacked. No signal responded. Earth looked peaceful. They landed near an old human military base in what was once known as Alaska. Snow covered the buildings. Frozen silence surrounded them. The alien soldiers moved carefully, scanning for traps. There were none. Everything was still. Inside the base, they found food still sitting on plates. Bunk beds still had folded blankets. It was as if the humans had just stepped out for a walk. But, again, no people, no bodies, no blood, no war signs. They found something strange in the command room. A black box, sealed and locked. It wasn't powered, but one of the engineers forced it open. Inside was a small drive. They plugged it into their ship. It played only one sentence. "If you're hearing this, you're already too late." The screen went black. Every system on their ship shut down. Lights off, engines off, weapons off. One by one, their suits stopped working. Their hearts raced. Panic set in. "We need backup," one of them shouted. But no signal could get out. Something was blocking it. Not a machine, not a wall, something deeper. Like the planet itself had swallowed their message. Above Earth, the war fleet tried to track the scout ship. Then it vanished, just like the others. No explosion, no trace. Now the panic spread. Commander Trivax stood up and shouted, "Call. Off the missions. Pull back the fleet. Earth is not silent because it's weak. It's silent because it's watching us." But again, the council didn't listen. They sent 2 warships this time. Full power, dozens of fighters, bombers, heavy shields. They were told, "Crush what's left. Burn the cities if you must. Make Earth obey." The warships entered Earth's orbit. They saw the planet below. Beautiful, calm, oceans shining in the sun, mountains covered in white clouds. The world looked untouched. One of the captains said, "It's too calm." Then the stars above them changed. Not much, just a flicker. One of the navigators said, "There's something behind us." They turned their cameras. There was nothing, just black space. Then the lights on the ship blinked once, twice, and on the third blink, they all went out. Both warships lost power, shields dropped, weapons offline, communication silent. From deep inside Earth, something had reached up, without launching, a single missile. And just like that, 2 mighty warships floated helpless above the quiet planet. No attack, no fight, just silence. And then, a sound. One short tone, like a warning bell. Only the human frequency could make it. It echoed through the empty space. "You should have listened when we stopped talking." Across the galaxy, other planets started picking up similar signals. Not loud, not fast, just short bursts, strange pulses, too advanced for translation. But it was human. Every expert confirmed it. It wasn't music. It wasn't words. It was countdown code. Something was coming. The Galactic Union finally called an emergency meeting. Trivax stood before them, his voice cold. "You thought silence meant surrender," he said. "You don't know Earth. Silence is their weapon. What do we do now? One counselor asked. Trivax looked at the stars and answered, Now, we pray the silence doesn't end. Because when humans stop talking, that's when they strike. And this time they weren't coming back with words, they were coming back with vengeance. In the dark of space, the alien fleets waited. No signals came from Earth. No scouts returned. The warships sent to orbit the planet were now completely unresponsive. Not destroyed, just frozen, dead in space. But the silence was starting to spread. In the far-off system of Theros 9, a cargo ship reported hearing strange noises over its long-range radio. The crew said it sounded like whispers, fast, cold, not language, something deeper. Their computers couldn't decode it. The signal repeated, every hour. The only thing they could understand was the rhythm. It was a countdown. Other ships across the galaxy began hearing it too. First near Earth, then on the edge of human space, then far beyond, on planets that had never seen, human. The same cold whisper, the same strange ticking. Galactic engineers tried to break the code. Nothing worked. The signal used frequencies outside standard tech. It bent around detection systems. Some said it wasn't just a signal. It was alive. Inside a high-level command center of the Galactic Union, panic started to grow. The silence wasn't silence anymore. It was filled with something invisible, something watching, something preparing. One technician finally broke through a small part of the code. He translated a single phrase buried in the pattern. We warned you. Now it begins. The room went quiet. Across the stars, a chilling fear grew. This was not a random act, it was a plan, and the humans had started it the moment they went dark. One admiral stood before the council and said, They let us think we won. That was their trap. A younger officer shook his head. But how? Their fleets were destroyed, their colonies wiped out. The admiral stared at the map of Earth. They used the oldest human trick, fake death. And while we laughed, they waited. Just then, one of the last functioning alien satellites near Earth picked up motion, something moving deep in the planet's oceans. Not one, not two, hundreds. Metal structures, slowly rising. The image was grainy, but it was clear. Ships, but not like before. These ships didn't show heat. They didn't show energy signatures. They were invisible to scanners until now. And they weren't old human designs. They were new, sleek, silent, ghosts. The satellite tried to transmit the images back to the fleet, but the moment it sent the signal, it exploded. No weapon, no trace. Just one flash, and it was gone. Back at Galactic Command, the scientists received only part of the transmission, a blurry frame. But it was enough. They saw a shape, a black triangle, floating just above the water, and on its side, a symbol, the Earth flag. Except this one was different. It had no color, no words, just black and gray. And underneath it, written in small, sharp letters, Silence is war. Now the galaxy understood. Humans hadn't lost the war. They changed it. No longer loud, no longer in the open. Now they fought with fear, with shadows, with silence. And that silence was spreading. Entire trade routes went dark overnight. Ships disappeared between jump points. Stations were found empty. No sign of battle, just missing. Pirates blamed humans. Soldiers blamed old tech. But deep down, they all knew the truth. Earth was hunting, and they were doing it without a sound. Back in the council hall, some species begged to surrender. Others wanted to talk, to apologize, to make peace. But no one could reach Earth. No one even knew if humans were listening, or if they already knew everything. Commander Trivax sat alone, staring at the blackened map of the Sol system. He spoke softly, as if the silence could hear him. We made them quiet, he said, and now they're making us disappear. Behind him, a monitor blinked. A single message appeared on screen. From nowhere. From everywhere. We remember. Do you? Then the screen went dark again. No one dared speak, because the silence wasn't empty anymore. It was filled with human anger, and it was only just beginning. The Galactic Union still didn't understand what was happening. Their fleets were strong, their weapons unmatched. They had ruled the stars for centuries. No enemy had ever scared them for long. But now they were scared, not because of battles, not because of explosions, but because nothing was happening, and that nothing was human. On the outer rim planet of Varnus 3, life was normal. It was a small mining world, rich with resources, poor with defenses. The workers there had no fear. They believed the humans were finished. They laughed when they saw the old war footage. Remember when Earth thought they could fight us? They joked. Then, one morning, every machine on Varnus 3 stopped working. The diggers, the lights, the doors, even the air filters. Everything, powered by computers, was dead. The engineers thought it was a glitch until they saw the message appear on every screen. We asked for peace. You gave us fire. Then the lights went out. For good. Varnus 3 lost contact with the Union within minutes. Rescue ships were sent. But when they arrived, the planet was dark. No lights, no heat, no life. Every building was untouched. Every structure still standing. But the people were gone. Gone without a trace. No bodies, no struggle. Just dust and silence. Panic reached the galactic core. These weren't attacks. They were disappearances. The kind of fear that sinks into your bones. No alarms, no survivors. Just the quiet scream of a world that had been erased. Commander Trivax stood in front of the War Council again. He was tired now, his voice rough, his eyes sunken. They're not using ships, he said. They're using fear, precision, patience. Another general snapped back. You act like they're ghosts. We're the most powerful force in the galaxy. Trivax didn't blink. Then why are we losing, and we don't even know how? The council went silent. Then a new report arrived. The central shipyard at Relock 7, where over 2,000 ships were under construction, had gone dark. No distress call. No warning. Just off. Spy drones were sent to investigate. When they returned, they showed footage of a massive station, fully intact, but not a single being in sight. Then, one frame caught something moving. A shape. Fast. Black. Not a drone. Not a ship. It moved like it was alive. And it wore a suit, a human suit, except it was completely black. No markings. No sound. The council stared in silence. Have they created new soldiers? One leader whispered. Trivax shook his head. No. Not new. Just unleashed. It was then that they remembered something from the early war. A human project that was never confirmed. A legend among alien spies. Project Ghostfire. Soldiers trained to disappear, to move without sound, to strike without light. Rumors said they didn't even use weapons. They were the weapons. At the time, the Union laughed it off. Just human fear, stories. But now, the ghosts were real, and they were not coming to talk. The Galactic Union began pulling fleets back. Defenses were increased, gates locked, borders closed. But it was too late, because the humans weren't coming from outside anymore. They were already inside. On Capital Prime, the most heavily guarded planet in the galaxy, security found a black device placed under the central AI tower. No one had seen anyone enter. No alarm had triggered. The device was simple. It had no buttons, just one screen. It lit up with a single line of text. This is your warning. Security tried to disable it, but before they could, the tower shut down. Across the planet, every AI system blinked out. For 6 hours, Capital Prime was blind. No defense, no weapons, no communication, and humans didn't even attack. They just left a message. When the systems came back online, every screen showed a new phrase. This was the first strike. The council finally understood. This wasn't revenge. This was a lesson. Earth had warned them. The silence was not surrender. The silence was war. And war had now begun, without a single sound. The galaxy was no longer calm. Fear now lived inside every ship, every station, every officer's heart. The silence that came from Earth had turned into something worse than war. It became a shadow, one that no scanner could find and no soldier could shoot. The Galactic Union tried to stay strong. They held meetings, they made speeches, they sent out patrols, but no one trusted anything anymore. They didn't trust their walls, they didn't trust their air, and worst of all, they didn't trust the sky, because now the sky didn't warn you when death was coming. It simply stayed quiet, until it was too late. In the wealthy city of Lorveth Prime, aliens lived in peace. High towers, golden buildings, clean air. It was a place untouched by the war. The citizens believed the humans wouldn't waste time on them. They were not soldiers. They were merchants, artists, thinkers. They were wrong. At exactly midnight, every screen in the city turned black. No sound, no light, just a flicker. Then, across the sky, something moved. No engines, no roar, just shadows passing over the stars. One child pointed up. "Look, Mama, birds!" But they weren't birds and they weren't natural. A single black pod landed in the center of the city. It didn't explode. It didn't open. It simply sat there. People gathered around it, curious, confused. No one dared touch it. The city guard arrived. They scanned it. No power source, no weapon signal. Then a message appeared on the pod's side. "Do not fear. You have already been judged." The guards tried to take it away. It wouldn't move. Then at sunrise, every electronic system in the city shut off. The city's heart stopped. Doors wouldn't open. Lights went dead. Transports froze midair and crashed. Even the water systems failed. Panic spread. Then, without any explosion, the pod melted into the ground, leaving behind one thing, a small flag, black, with Earth's symbol, and under it, one by one. The people of Lorveth Prime screamed. They had done nothing to humans. Why target them? But this wasn't about what someone did. This was about what everyone allowed. They had watched the war. They had watched Earth burn. And they stayed silent. Now, Earth was answering in kind. Across the galaxy, reports poured in. Black pods, no sound, no violence, just systems dying, people vanishing, entire cities frozen in fear, and still, not a single human ship had been seen. No armies, no fleets. Just effects. It was as if the galaxy was fighting ghosts. At the Union's high-security base on Sharn 12, panic had turned into obsession. Experts worked day and night, trying to track the source of the human attacks. They looked for energy trails, for launch points, for anything. Then one analyst found something strange. The black pods didn't come from space. They came from beneath, from within the planets, buried deep. Years ago, Trivax was the first to understand. They planted these, he said slowly, before the war ended. While we were bombing their cities, they were burying their future. Impossible, someone said. We would have seen it. Trivax shook his head. No, we were too proud. We thought the war was won. He turned to the galaxy map. We never stopped to ask what the humans were doing in their final days. Now, they knew. They had been preparing a silent future, and it had arrived. Back in orbit over Earth, the warships that had gone dead suddenly blinked back to life for 30 seconds, long enough to send one final image. It showed the inside of the ship, emptied, every alien gone, and one human soldier standing alone in the hallway, dressed in black, helmet down, no weapon, just a quiet message written across his chest plate. You started this. We'll end it, quietly. The image cut off. No more signals, no more warnings. The galaxy now understood. Earth was not asking for peace. Earth was not waiting for a deal. Earth was moving, slowly, silently, one by one, and when they came for you, the sky wouldn't scream, the ground wouldn't shake. You wouldn't hear war. You would only hear nothing. Long before the war truly began, the humans had already accepted one thing: they would lose the first fight. They saw the power of the Galactic Union, its endless fleets and planet-killer weapons. So they changed their thinking. They didn't plan to win the war. They planned what to do after they lost. Now that plan was unfolding. Planet after planet had gone dark. Cities stood untouched, but empty. Ships floated without a crew, and the galaxy was starting to understand. Human defeat was never real. It was a step in something much larger. In the deep black of space, far from any system, a forgotten human station activated. It hadn't made a sound in 15 years. It had been hidden in the static fields of an asteroid belt. The Galactic Union thought it had been destroyed early in the war. They were wrong. Inside, lights flickered on. Cold metal floors warmed. Old machines woke from their sleep. And in the center, a single console began transmitting. But not to the galaxy. It transmitted into Earth. Not the Earth they had known. The Earth beneath the oceans, beneath the soil. The hidden Earth. The place where the final plan had been waiting. Back. In Galactic Command, scientists decoded part of the signal. It was a list, a long one. Not of targets, not of ships, of names. Every high-ranking leader in the Union, every factory director, every shipbuilder, politician, and scientist who helped destroy Earth cities. It wasn't a battle plan, it was a scoreboard. And slowly, one by one, those names started disappearing. High Marshal Varn, gone. No message. His ship found drifting through space. His crew vanished. Fleetmaster Julo, gone. Last seen boarding a shuttle. The shuttle landed. No one inside. Minister Kalurek, gone. Her palace empty. All guards asleep. Not dead, just sleeping. And on the walls of each location, carved in the metal, was the same symbol. A small circle, a broken chain inside it. Earth's final symbol. The mark of freedom. Commander Trivax watched all of this unfold. He no longer argued, no longer shouted. His voice was low, tired, but sharp. They didn't build a last weapon, he said. They built a list. And now they're checking it. The others didn't respond. There was nothing to say. The truth was clear now. When Earth burned, humanity didn't cry for help. They went underground, literally beneath their cities, beneath their oceans, into the caves and hollowed-out mountains. They built machines that didn't run on normal energy. They trained soldiers not to fight in armies, but in silence, in shadows. They spread pieces of their plan across the galaxy, disguised, as debris, as broken tech, as harmless cargo. Some of it even sold to the Union itself. The Union had unknowingly carried the seeds of its own defeat. Now, those seeds were growing. Every time a planet went dark, it wasn't random. It was part of a map, a grid, a silent movement across the stars. Not to conquer, not to rule, to end what was started, to make sure no one ever tried to burn Earth again. One alien historian called it the revenge of the grave. But it wasn't revenge. It was memory. It was a lesson written in silence, delivered in fear. The galaxy had forgotten what humans could become when pushed to the edge. Now, they remembered. And still, not one human voice had spoken. Not one message. No surrender demands. No speeches, only actions, only disappearances, only silence. On the outer station of Halvac 3, the last known recording was recovered. It showed a black-suited human walking through a hallway, alone. The alien guard tried to speak. The human stopped. Turned in perfect, calm alien language, he said, "We are not here for everyone. Just those who let the fire spread." Then he vanished. The guard survived. The rest of the station did not. Back in the council room, the last words spoken that day came from Trivax. We never beat them. We only taught them how far they had to go. And now, they were going there. With every shadow, with every step, with every silent name crossed off the list. The galaxy watched and waited for the last part of the plan. Whatever it was, it hadn't arrived yet. But it was coming. The list was nearly finished. Planet after planet had gone dark. The names of generals, admirals, and leaders were crossed out, one by one. No explosions, no fire, just emptiness where power used to be. The Galactic Union, once proud and unbreakable, was falling apart. Fleets no longer moved. Orders were no longer trusted. Every alien commander was afraid to speak, afraid to sleep, afraid to breathe too loud, because the humans were still silent. And that silence had become louder than any war. On the deep core planet of Vokar Prime, the last secret meeting was held. Only 4 of the highest Union leaders remained. They sat inside a fortress buried under solid rock. 5,000 soldiers guarded it. Drones watched every hallway. AI systems scanned every signal. It was said to be the safest place in the galaxy. But fear still lived in the eyes of those leaders. "Where are they now?" one of them whispered. No one answered. No one could answer. Suddenly the lights dimmed. Just for a second. Not fully off. Just flickering. All 4 leaders stood up. Hands shaking. The AI said there was no threat, no breach, all systems normal, but they didn't believe it, because they knew. The humans didn't need to break doors or blast walls. If the lights flickered, it meant someone was already inside. And then, the power died. Total blackness. The guards never even fired a shot. When the rescue team arrived 12 hours later, they found the fortress untouched, doors still sealed, systems intact. But the 4 leaders were gone. Only one thing remained, written on the main wall in dark red paint. The silence is your answer. There were no more names on the list, no more enemies left. But the humans weren't done, because now they sent a message. The first one since the war began, just 3 words broadcast across every screen in the galaxy. Do you understand? It wasn't a threat. It wasn't a demand. It was a question, one that made the entire galaxy freeze. Do you understand what you did? Do you understand what you allowed? Do you understand why silence came? Planets that had once laughed at Earth now held quiet memorials. Statues of their own fallen leaders were taken down. New voices rose, ones that wanted peace, not power. And still, Earth said nothing more. No voice, no broadcast, no sign of where they were. Some thought Earth had vanished, gone completely into the shadows. Others believed humans were still watching, listening, waiting. Rumor spread, if any planet ever raised a weapon against Earth again, they wouldn't receive a warning, just a flicker of lights, then nothing. On Earth itself, far below the surface, deep in the hidden bunkers, the last humans sat together. They didn't cheer. They didn't celebrate. They just waited. Because for them, this was never about glory, never about conquest. It was about making sure no one ever forgot. They had been burned once. Now they were the fire. Commander Elias, the man behind Project Ghostfire, stood in front of a quiet crowd. Soldiers in black suits, engineers, pilots, survivors. He looked at them and spoke the first words Earth had recorded since the silence began. We lost the first war, but we built something inside that loss, something they never saw coming. We gave them silence. Now, they finally hear us. The crowd didn't clap. They just nodded. And then, Elias gave the final order. Stand down. Across the galaxy, the disappearances stopped. No more cities went dark. No more ships vanished. No more shadows moved. The silence remained, but now it felt different. not like fear, but like peace, because the galaxy now understood. Humanity's silence wasn't weakness. It wasn't surrender. It was a warning, a quiet answer to a loud mistake, and, if that mistake ever happened again, the silence would return, and this time it would not stop.